Hello and welcome to Boo's Book Baedeker.
Oh.
We're so excited because we have guest host Nick today.
Hello.
Yay and welcome Nick.
Thank you. Golf clap, everyone.
Also, in a hat tip to Ready Player One, we are drinking 8-Bit Pale Ale, and then we're also having some Glenmorangie. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I guess it's a Highlander thing, and you can't stream Highlander. You have to buy an actual physical disc, and it's BS.
Whoa. That's clutch reference right there.
So what'd you guys think?
I thought this book was amazing, and that's why I recommended it in the first place. And I think Steven Spielberg feels the same way.
Yeah, and he hasn't directed something in a long time, has he? So everyone's really excited.
No. Isn't he just producing Jurassic World? I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know anything about it. Anyways, everyone is really excited.
Yeah, I mean, Half Price Books is completely sold out of Ready Player One at like multiple locations. There's no way to get it. It's like a resurgence of this book. So thankfully, there's unlimited ebook copies online. They just keep producing them. I don't know how they keep up with demand.
I feel like that's the way you should read this book. Unless there was like a VR read through.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I want a full haptic feedback suit.
Me
oh,
too.
absolutely. Yeah. I just want to feel someone like grab my arm and then I'll freak out and run away. Like I'll never use it again when somebody attacks me.
But I learned one thing from this book. And
Just
haptic
one?
feedback suits. Get one a couple sizes bigger because eventually he has to work out so he can fit into his suit.
Exactly.
And he shaves like every part of his body.
Because he doesn't want to miss any sensation.
Think about it. But it's like that
kinda
gel
weird.
that his shower throws out, so he just rubs it on. It's like Nair for his whole body. And he's like, I looked weird without eyebrows for a minute, and then I pictured myself without eyebrows, and I was like, keep all the hair you can, just hide that face guy. Yeah, it's gonna work.
It's just like Robert Durst from The Jinx.
Oh, creepy.
Right?
It's creepy.
I don't get that reference, but that's okay.
Shoot his eyebrows.
Aren't you glad we don't live in stacks that are RVs stacked 15 to 20 high?
I mean, I live in an apartment in like Stevens Square, so it kind of feels that way sometimes. I can hear everything.
Yeah, I live in the basement of an apartment, so.
But you've
So-
never had it topple on you, have
You're
you?
that bottom stack.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have the safest apartment if there were a tornado to rip through Uptown.
Excellent. Or if Sorrento's on you.
I'd probably get sliced in half by a vinyl record.
Exactly. Some
Some hipster's glasses. Just...
gigantic bike takes you out. Why is it 8 feet tall? Just healing itself towards your demise. It's
Exactly.
gonna be terrible.
Unicycle crashes through my window.
I kept forgetting what IOI stood for because they only mentioned it like once at the very beginning.
Innovative Online Industries. The most generic possible company name.
Yeah. That's all you need is a generic company name, and then you can do anything.
What did they actually do besides hire people to try to find Halliday's egg?
They did tech support. They were a conglomerate of everything tech, and that was the whole point. Like that's how at that end he got in because they needed so many people to do tech support for the entire world.
Good point.
They were scooping people up off the street just to...
And he got into Tier 2 tech support.
Woo!
Which leads me to believe he shouldn't have been the one that actually found everything and solved the riddle.
He cheated on his test, so he didn't get put higher.
You're right.
Yeah, I burned through this book again last night, so I'm just like super pumped. Like,
Yeah, you read the whole thing.
It was great. It was amazing.
It's all fresh in your mind.
Super fresh. Like
Super fresh.
It's the freshest memory I have. I haven't played a single video game since then. So
That's a lie.
that's the only thing that replaces. No.
When there was the trophy clue, I was like, oh, please let it be Zork. Please let it be Zork, because I grew up on Zork.
Nice.
And then when it was Zork, I was like, yes! So that was
Can you
very
imagine a
rewarding
whole
for me.
planet dedicated to Zork? What was it called?
It would be boring, I think.
Zobras or something?
Oh,
Frobos. Frobos. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce these
And there was
things.
like 800 instances of Zork there or something crazy like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way you'd be able to finish that game. They were like, yeah, we got in and out in 15 minutes. I mean, even if you know that game in and out, because you had to do everything in a very particular order so you don't get eaten by the troll or killed by the troll. And you've got to go all sorts of places. So when they're like, yeah, I'm finishing this game in 15 minutes, I was like, no, you're not.
You know, the realism really dropped off at the Zork planet. It lost all appeal. It was then when I closed the Kindle and I just said, all right, we'll wait 15 minutes. Let this soak in.
Sorry,
Ernest Cline.
it's all about that Planet Arcade.
Wow, what an amazing idea though! Like to have any planet with any video game stretched across it infinitely. Like, you know, like Borderlands is like that whole concept. But think about like, you know, Street Fighter. Like every block is just two people fighting. Like you turn. Same. Okay.
Street market's getting destroyed.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just, you know, it would be amazing, frankly, to be VR in any video game and. The whole concept, and he kept having to reiterate, like, we recreated the game in 3D just so no one would imagine, like, you're playing,
Side-scroller.
Yeah, exactly. So that, you know, it's a completely different, almost paradigm of video game, because you're looking at this from a three-dimensional perspective when the entire game was, I mean, revolutionary, half of these, simply because they were new attempts at side-scrolling. And
can you talk more about side-scrolling? What do you mean side-scrolling?
Like recreating half of these games. I'm blanking on what this one specifically was referenced. Something Cobra. What was Cobra?
There was Sword Quest, which was the sequel to Adventure, but I don't know the Cobra.
Oh, it was his like first actual FPS jump in. He basically got loaded in and he had, you know, his unlimited ammo and he just kept going through and blasting NPCs. But thinking about a side-scrolling game like that, like imagine if you were playing like the old X-Men arcade game and suddenly you were like Wolverine awesome. 3D, like that would have been amazing, like taking out all these like sentinels on the street, like, that's sweet.
That actually would be really cool.
To see that recreation for me as a video gamer going from like Eddie's, you know, out in Zachary Square, we dumped so much money into, you know, just like allowance after allowance into the quarter machine, and then we'd be broke for a week, and then our mom would give us $10 million, and we'd play for another half an hour, just waste money. But to see those games that we grew up with in a three-dimensional sense, being that first-person perspective, would be, you know, the culmination of a dream, frankly.
War Games, when he realized that he was the actor.
Exactly.
Yeah. Who did he play? He played as T, right? That was Matthew Broderick's character.
Oh, I don't know what his character's name was. I just remember the line in the movie where the mom yells up, "Is your little friend staying for dinner?" It was not in the book, but it was in the movie.
Nice. Fair enough.
He watched so much TV.
Oh, yeah.
Was he old enough to have watched all the TV and movies that he referenced?
Yeah.
I mean, did he have enough time is my point.
I mean, what he said, it was like 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's...
Because I think they referenced how much of, like, in Anorak's Almanac, there was like 300 hours of movies and crazy amount of books he read, and then they didn't even accommodate the TV shows, so...
And then, I mean...
That's pretty much all he's doing all day.
There was like X amount in his almanac, but then in his like indexed library that he had submitted with his will, there was like millions of hours. Like he had just, collected everything possible. And I wonder if he did put clues.
Do you think it was taxonomically categorized?
I really hope a gigantic, awesome computer did it. Let's be real. The guy invented VR and just talked to it. I need to watch, you know, episode 6 of X-Files. Doesn't have to like go through and pull it out.
Except the year 2045 seems really depressing. Everyone's just in this fake world created by this guy.
Reality.
Yeah.
Eating their soy bacon and then going to church.
And then your aunt takes your computer so she can buy drugs.
I mean, that sounds like now, you know. For just,
I felt kind of uplifted when he was like, okay, he's going to school. I'm like, okay, this is going to be good because this is kind of depressing. And then you realize that he's going to school in this van that he's appropriated.
Yep.
That was sad.
Did you guys like have hideouts as kids? Like
Sure.
a spot that was like,
The middle of the woods.
Imagine.
That's what we called it too. We called it the woods, even though it really wasn't the woods. It was just some overgrown, you know. I mean, I don't know. It was maybe like 2 blocks by 2 blocks. Well, now they've leveled it down because it was unsafe.
Exactly, because kids went in there and did things.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Shooting off their fireworks.
Yeah, falling asleep drunk.
Having fun.
Hey,
can't have any of that.
Solid tree.
Yeah, it was a solid. It was a nice.
I smashed my hand in a door. Anyways, this is all hypothetical.
All parents watching, nothing happened until we were 40.
Okay, do you want to take us through the 12 steps?
Sure, I guess, yeah.
And what are the 12 steps? What's the concept of the 12 steps?
The 12 steps is a nice... oh, God. I can't compare this to actual 12 steps because I've never been in Alcoholics Anonymous.
Oh no, we're not making any comparison to Alcoholics Anonymous.
We definitely are.
What?
Just a super succinct way to summarize the book.
In 12 sentences.
Yeah, with alcohol.
With alcohol. With alcohol. So step 1, I said parents are dead. Let's watch Family Ties. That's a great intro to the book. 2, be stuck on planet. Oh God. I said Ludus, but that just sounds so displeasing to your ear. What did you guys say for that planet?
In my head it was Ludus.
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 Mm-hmm. Step 3, try to find the copper key in the Tomb of Horrors. Step 4. Oh God. Play Acer and Joust. Did you say Acer?
So did you have to be on the other side to win? Or was that just an advantage?
I think it was just an advantage because that's how you typically play.
I think it was Halliday. He programmed it to play as him, and he played on that side. So it threw off the AI when you end up playing on the other side with the other character.
Okay.
That's
excellent explanation.
Because that's what he was saying is that the techniques, even though it was Halliday who programmed it, he couldn't improvise because he had transferred his techniques into a computer. So there was still only a certain amount of preset moves. And I loved that because even though it was even the best AI that we have today is still just a set of predefined moves. So
wouldn't pass the Turing test.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. Step 5, go to a replica of Middletown, Ohio. Fall into War Games poster.
Yeah, that was trippy.
Yeah, it was. And then have to reenact everything like, what's going on?
I'm glad he caught on in time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Hi, David. Warning. Hi, David. He's like, hi, Howie. Bing. Okay, sweet, yeah. Because how would you test that out? I would have probably failed that right away. I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Negative 100, negative 100.
Yeah, exactly. It takes me a lot of playthroughs before I can play through a level.
Yeah, it's like not a PvP zone as I'm strangling the kid. I'm like, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
God, that would freak me out. I guess he had been used to being in VR. I imagined myself being dropped directly into War Games, and I was just like, if I just showed up in the middle of that NORAD center, I would have just freaked out. So
Or been in love.
Ooh, I do love Whoppers.
Fair enough. Step 6, think about the quatrain, which I believe was the riddle.
Yeah.
Or he named
And
it.
that was it the Zork riddle? Or what was it?
I want to say yes.
I'm not sure, I can't remember.
It was the
He just read it last
riddle.
night though, so he knows.
No, blinking.
It was the riddle that he needed to solve to get the jade key.
Which is the middle key.
Which is
So
the middle
yes.
one. Yeah.
So yes,
Okay.
it was the Zork riddle.
Step 7, stacks get bombed. That was sad. Poor
That-
Mrs. Gilmore.
That's when things got real.
That is
Get
In like 30 years, when all of this really happens, like that joke will be
no.
wildly inappropriate. But today, it's awesome. It's like hypothetical.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Step 8, become Bryce Lynch. Crumble every relationship you've established throughout your life thus far.
Wait, what are you talking about? What is your crumble?
It's because he was trying to get with Artemis, and then, what did you say?
That's right.
H. Yeah, they stopped hanging out, and then, I forget what happened, but Artemis was like, oh, you're not cool anymore. Oh wait, yeah. You dropped the I love you bomb.
Yep.
In public.
Well, and it was spectacularly highlighted by a huge attack on the party they were at. So it's a wonderful night, and he's like,
Oh, that party was epic!
He's like,
Yeah.
That's where they drink the
Oh, yeah.
cranberry.
That's where she orders, yeah.
The distracted globe.
Yeah, and
And the guy all comes down like the emperor on crack. He's like, you tried to crash my
Then
party!
he just lasers everyone.
Yeah.
Get out of here!
yeah, that was dope.
That was actually really cool. That's
Yeah.
probably one of my favorite scenes in this entire book. I would
And
have
the
to say.
dancing with the gravity.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I wish I had like an auto dance button besides alcohol. That'd be wonderful. And even then, I just think I'm doing well. So. Yeah.
Step 9. Travel to arcade, get the jade key, and then find out Dado is dead. Dido.
Like
I can't pronounce
like the
things.
singer.
Like
it's not
really
spelled the
dead,
same.
not VR dead.
No.
Not VR dead. Also murdered in his, I don't know, trailer.
No, he was thrown out of a
His
window.
apartment.
Oh,
Yeah.
43rd floor.
Wow, good memory.
Mm-hmm.
And stacks don't go that high. Stacks go about 20.
Oh, okay. So he was well off.
Well, I mean, even when Wade got his endorsement deals and stuff, he was, you know...
Because he could still go to planets that,
Yeah, Dido was always... I mean, they never talked about, even when Shoto starts, like, talking about how they met and everything, they never really go into too much of Dido's past because he never wanted to meet up with Shoto. So there really wasn't too much to tell or too much to know there. Except for he lived in an apartment and got thrown off of it.
which is a bummer.
Super bummer.
You should have put those shoes on.
And then the main character gets his hands on some video evidence, isn't that right? How does he do that?
When he's...
Yeah, so that's when he gets arrested and has to like work off his fines or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then he uses whatever he uses to manipulate their software and dig into everything and finds out everyone's on like a hit list.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
Yeah, that was actually a really great, like, as soon as he was inside the system, he had pretty much, like, unlimited access to everything. All they had to do was kind of play it cool during the day, and then kind of slyly pick up all the equipment he needed, and he just had it, like, delivered to the empty cubicle down the hall from him. I always thought that was genius.
It was an epic, like, final plan to end the novel.
Yeah, it really was. Really was. The part where they have the robot's point of view as he's delivering the bomb to destroy the wizard holding the orb that's powering the shield at the end at Castle Anorak. That's like the best. It's like, and it punched in a few commands and carried a bomb up the stairs. Anyone who might have noticed him was instantly vaporized. Just like, oh. Yeah, I suppose they would have been. Sure. Mm-hmm. Great.
There's a funny line in there, like, you know, when the robots would check the other robots' security settings, and it basically tells them, I can do whatever the hell I want.
Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm. I laughed at that line. I remember that was one of those lines where I like try to tell someone about it as I'm reading it, and it's just like
lost.
I don't know why you do that. So there's no context. So like, okay, so the robot can do whatever the hell I want. It's a really good line. You know? It was very for all like the lack. Like there's one reference to Terry Pratchett in like the Almanac. But then they don't really reference anything. But there's like...
Who's Terry Pratchett?
Like the Discworld series author. I don't know if you've ever read. He's like a super satirical fantasy steampunk author. But that's kind of his writing style. Would be to like, you know, super personify a inanimate object to be like almost sassy. And so it was kind of fun to have like a reference like that in Ernest Cline's little bit more subtle writing style. But it was very Pratchett-esque. Very Pratchett-esque.
You got me into Terry Pratchett. I think you gave me Guards, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that's a good book.
Yeah, it was really a good book.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Rest in peace.
Nick, what was your favorite part? I know so much to choose from.
And if you would, I'm doing a close-up on your foot right now, so if you could just wiggle your foot as if the foot is answering the question,
Sure.
that'd be great.
I got real.
Draw a smiley face.
Now I have to think and then move my foot.
I'm thinking about YouTube tags that say foot fetish.
Oh no!
Hello. My favorite part of the book was, I would say, probably. Now I really enjoyed all the asides, like the moments where, okay, thankfully he's moved out my foot, so I don't have to try to concentrate. Struggling here, Bill. All the asides, he did like these really random kind of snippets into the day-to-day of Wade. And there was one chapter in specific, and frankly I can't remember the context, I just remember thinking like, this had no weight on the story whatsoever. But it just really got you into the shoes of Wade. And they kind of did that in small parts with almost everything in the story, just giving you too much information that just really fed into your whole understanding of this and how difficult it really was for Wade to isolate himself and be on this quest and you know, kind of make all these decisions that he had to. It was right after he got into the apartment, and it was like his whole day-to-day routine with losing weight and everything. Yep. How it had just become a part of his day. And it had really nothing to do with the story, but
no,
it was great.
It helped to personalize the protagonist and the world itself, like the setting that you were in the book. Yeah, there were a lot of parts.
And you would be rooting for him anyways, but because he's so young, he has that extra underdog quality, and you're like, go Wade. You can do it.
Well,
you can take down the system.
I also liked how you described the Oasis in general, like, oh, it's a teenager in school, like not wanting to really be there, but you're still learning. I don't know. I thought that was a creative way to kind of
But if it
fill in
wasn't
the
for school,
background.
he wouldn't have gotten that first key.
Oh yeah.
The school planet.
Well, but he gets an idea in class. It was like a
That's
Latin
true.
thing or something.
That's true. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. You're right.
Yeah, they were talking about to learn. So that was the whole first part of the clue, was those who have something to learn can find the key.
Yeah.
We can put subtitles that say, "You will never know."
Yeah. Exactly.
Boom.
Those comments have been blacklisted.
It's a big black ball.
Should I do random page
So-
selection?
Well, I was gonna ask what your favorite part of the book was.
What was my favorite part of the book? I really liked the party scene.
Oh yeah.
I think one of my favorite things was also one of the things I had trouble with, and that was that there were no rules. Like, Ernest Cline could do absolutely anything he wanted to, which was genius, but at the same time, I do like having kind of constraints so you know what's plausible and what's not, and I feel like absolutely anything could have gone in this book. Like when he comes in with his DeLorean and then he shrinks his DeLorean and puts it in his pocket, but he can't do that on another planet. And some planets are technology planets, and some planets are magic planets, and some are both, and some are none, so you could do anything. And I liked that, but I also didn't like it. I guess my favorite thing was my least favorite thing. How about that?
Interesting.
If I was actually in the Oasis, that would probably be one of my most favorite things and least favorite things as well. Like if I was actually playing that game, having that difference in the rules would be both the biggest blessing and at times the biggest curse of actually playing that game. I can see so many instances where it's like you're running away from somebody and all of a sudden you get into the wrong sector and you're like, your ship just powers down and you coast. So yeah, absolutely. Not even from a reader's perspective. Like, super annoying. I would hate that.
Well, it's weird how every planet has these cut and dry rules.
Sure.
But if you ever have actually played video games, there's people that manipulate the rules all the time. And they have in some instances in this book, but not as much as it actually happens in the real world. So I thought
There was
that
like one
kind of
game where you
curious.
could get 40 lives just by, I can't remember what.
There's some manipulation.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. I feel like it would be more, I don't know, there'd be a lot of modders and hackers doing things.
And he mentioned that when he was talking about getting the codes for the admin when he was inside of IOI, that on that Leet Hacksaws website you could get Oasis glitches. Like people would sell you access to these or sell you the information on how to utilize it. It didn't seem to be like a huge part. You're right. But I imagine there is some risk. Like the program is so fast.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's like it's not just getting banned from Steam. That's like your whole life. It's like, oh, my livelihood is gone and I can no longer log on to this. Okay.
What did you guys think of the conclusion of the book?
Of him not. Love is greater than video games? I think it's bullshit. I'm just kidding.
I agree with that. I read this something about nicely. If you can't play through Borderlands 2 with your significant other and have her screaming at the monitor like, die, psycho, die! I don't know what life's about. So. Just me though.
What did you think?
Well, I liked how they all got together in real life. IRL, as some say. That was good.
Were you surprised by the identity of H?
No, you knew that was coming. You didn't know if it was going to be H or if it was going to be somebody else, but you knew that once you met a real person, it was not going to be. In fact, I was kind of surprised that Artemis wasn't
way different.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was kind of very...
It would have been hilarious if the whole book was just like an anomaly for getting catfished.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I would have enjoyed that.
Yeah. I don't know. It was nice that like H was like it was a great moment when they like met in the RV for the first time, and like H was all shy because obviously there was something hidden, like gender. But it was nice that it wasn't a big deal at all. And he even like said it like that, like, you know.
But it was only not a big deal because they were friends.
Well, sure. Yeah.
If it had been a different
lover.
dynamic, that could have gotten.
Like if Artemis
explosive.
was a 300-pound white man named Chuck.
Exactly. Exactly.
That would have been weird.
That could have happened. Yeah.
Was it H who always was telling Wade that Artemis is probably a 300?
No, it was just like his insecurity in his head.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because that would have been funny since she was
That would've been
pretending to be something she wasn't.
It was kind of nice and very telling about like her personality. I feel it kind of like reinforced Wade's feelings about her when her avatar was her minus the birthmark that she hated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that it was so close to her without just that one big thing that she despised about herself. And I think it really reinforced in Wade like what kind of person she was. And I think without that, the team wouldn't have been quite so strong. Because they were like the linchpin of that whole thing. Like him and H couldn't have done it alone. They needed Artemis, but without that bond, Artemis never would have come back. And it was essential.
Good character development.
It was. It was excellent.
It's the book that makes you scream, "Go team!"
Exactly.
Not me. I was like, get out of there, Wade. Kill him. $240 billion? Screw friends. Buy new ones. You got robots. I don't know. It's just me.
You can just develop personalities that you enjoy.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Terrible.
No.
Random page.
Selection.
Random page.
Parzival,
Selection.
can I at least keep emailing you? Artemis, not a good idea. Parzival, you can't stop me from emailing you. Actually, I can. I can block you on my contact list. You wouldn't do that, though, would you? Not if you don't force me to. Harsh. Unnecessarily harsh. Good night, Parzival. Farewell, Artemis. Sweet dreams. Little tension. A little tension in the...
Reminds me of my AOL days.
Ditto.
How did you guys pronounce that? Parzival? Percival? Percival. Because it was supposed to be Percival,
I
right?
always said Percival, yeah.
Yeah. Because that's why he chose it, because he's trying to get something close to Percival, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else?
There's an entire chapter of their chat transcript.
Yep.
Is
It's like
it?
chapter 19, I think.
It's super annoying.
Am I super nerd right now? I think it's 19. Oh,
17. 17. Oh, you're so right. Well,
Most of
it, yeah. In fact, that's what I was reading from. I was reading from the end of that.
Level 2.
And that's in level 2.
Mhm.
I liked how the book started off with all zeros, and then once you get to part 1, then it's then it gets a 1.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very clever. I like how they quote Groucho Marx too. I'm not crazy about reality, but it's still the only place to get a decent meal. You know, or decent soy bacon.
Exactly.
Love
I'm not sure that's true in that world, but
Yeah.
I thought back to The Matrix, actually, when I read that, because I was like, no, that's totally not true. I would, you know, in that world, it would totally, like, if you could get, like, a pill that made you think you were eating a steak, absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'd be down. I'd eat a fake steak and love every second.
That guy creeped me out in The Matrix.
Okay.
That was just like,
Cypher?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always one
Culinary
crazy
creep.
person. Yeah. Cypher is like IROC. Just a hater.
Oh, no.
Just a total hater.
Selling information.
Yeah, you know, exactly.
I know what you're thinking. Why didn't I take the blue pill? Or was it the red pill? I forget. Whatever.
Why didn't I take both?
Just to see what would happen.
You know what the best line in those is?
What?
Cypher's like, I don't believe it. And then Tank goes, believe it or not, you son of a bitch, you're still gonna burn. And he unleashes on him. Oh, that's just the best. That's where The Matrix should have ended. Just like Cypher's dead, whatever. Nobody cares.
Speaking of The Matrix, USA Today called this book enchanting. Willy Wonka meets The Matrix.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I
That's
thought that was
actually
such a good description. Sometimes we read books and we read these descriptions and we're like, did they even read the same
Yeah.
book? But that one was spot on. That
Definitely.
one was spot on. Do you remember the Gone Girl? No, not Gone Girl. Dinner. The dinner was
Yeah, it
like,
was the dinner. It's like the Gone Girl of Europe. I was like,
what?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
This has nothing. No, nothing to do with that.
But USA Today got it right.
The chocolate of literature.
Alright, I'm gonna do another random page selection.
Random page.
I worked frantically for the next 4 hours. Most of that time was spent copying as much data as possible from the Sixer database to my stolen flash drive. Once that task was completed, I submitted an executive oologist supply requisition order. This is when he's getting... So he got a bunch of hardware. What kind of hardware did he requisition?
He got his ID badge for the maintenance access, so he could escape, and he got his 10 zettabyte flash drive.
That's right.
I love how they described what a zettabyte was.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I don't remember.
They're like, it can record 250 hours of DVDs. Like, what?
That is not true. 250 hours of...
That's how they described it. That's the description of a zettabyte.
That's insane. Their DVDs must be insanely high def.
We're talking 4K.
Well, it's the future, so yeah.
12K. I don't know.
People can't afford food, but high resolution TVs have just continued onward. Toshiba can't be stopped.
What'd you guys think of the whole indentured servitude social commentary towards the end there? That was
interesting.
dark and weird.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like as he's escaping, he says it because he's walking through the crowd of people who are just coming there to work, and it's like, how do these people feel knowing that 3 floors below them or something, all of these thousands of people are living and working for as indentured slaves, and then he gets stopped, and one woman's just like, oh, your ear's bleeding, because that's he took his little plug thing out, and it's just weird to me that like. That's the only comment. Like, nobody cares that he's around here. He's obviously not dressed like they are. He's obviously dressed as an indentured servant. But it's just, oh, your ear's bleeding. Nobody else could.
Oh, I thought he got new clothes. The only thing that would give him away were his booties, right?
I don't remember that.
Okay. I remember that his shoes were like, okay, hope they don't look at my feet. Hope they don't look at my feet. I think he was good for everything else.
Okay.
Is that when he was wearing those flying shoes?
There were no flying shoes.
You were
there at the party? Wait, when were there flying shoes?
No, to get through the third gate, he put on these shoes, and he was like...
Those are...
But this is in real life.
It was like Kevin Bacon and...
the shoes
true.
were in...
Artemis's.
Yeah, were in the
That's
Oasis.
true.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
They were her Adidas. Her flying Adidas. Which were they Adidas? I thought they were.
So much detail in this book.
It was just like random stuff, and I just couldn't keep up with all like the references. I thought they were Adidas because, frankly, like who didn't love Adidas back in like...
Speaking of detail, when he won the Pac-Man game, so when he wins the Pac-Man game, you're thinking this was just a side note, like, oh, okay, this didn't have anything to do with clearing the gate, and he gets something. What does he get?
A coin.
He gets a coin. Is it just like a regular quarter, or is it a token?
1981 quarter.
Oh, was it?
It's his extra life token for the end of the game.
Yeah, he has to use it. Yeah. And then everything disappears. Is that right? I'm trying to remember. He uses the quarter and then everything disappears? Or everything disappears and then he uses the quarter?
So all 3 of them get to the last
detonated
gate.
that bomb.
Yeah, and the Sixers...
Or remember the end of the chapter? Like, and then we all die.
Yeah, exactly. I remember saying that. Yep. Yeah, I was like, what just happened? I remember saying it the first time I read it, like, what just happened? It was very abrupt. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So they all die, and then I'm foggy.
He gets an extra life because he completed that side quest, essentially, by completing a perfect Pac-Man game. He got that quarter, he was able to pick it up off the console, and then he had an extra life. So when he died, and it was like the first time, it was the only way in the Oasis to ever have an extra life. And he did it.
Yeah, because he's Wade!
It's Wade Watts! I just called him Wilson. That's not right.
What?
Percival.
I love that little... in the beginning, he's talking about how he got his alliterative name, and it's his father, and his father was killed in a riot or a looting spree, and he was currently in like a grocery store, so he was stealing food, and he's saying like how his dad couldn't have been a bad man because he named him after like a superhero or as a superhero. I was just like, yeah, but he was in a grocery store, he was probably stealing food for his family, like... I don't think your dad's a bad guy, man. Like, I don't even know how that came up. Like, how have we not gotten there yet? Like, he's stealing food, so what, he can like sell it on the black market and buy heroin? Like, he's stealing food.
To support his wife.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just support them. It was just, I thought it was weird.
Yeah.
Like, what a weird perspective, frankly, I guess.
It definitely was.
So I tore through
Weird
this.
background.
It took me just a little over a day. Like, I couldn't put it down.
Exactly.
Yeah, the first time I read it, that's definitely what happened.
And it was ridiculous. Like, I was thinking, this book is so ridiculous, but I couldn't, but that's kind of the point. Like, it's so colorful and cartoonish and just out there. I think that's why you can't put it down.
It's true, but it also kind of hints at a lot of things that are going on technologically now. Like, it's very believable that in 2045, there's going to be the internet's going to be all virtual, and people will almost deny the real world because they can get out of it so easily. It's, I don't know.
I mean, that's
it
what I do every day already. I don't have a VR set up, but...
Yeah. I mean, I do too, but you can make the same argument for literature in general. You're living in a different world at the time you're reading a book.
Sure.
That was very meta, Josh.
I try.
I think like Hemingway has a lot more value than like Reddit.
Yeah.
In terms of intellectual stimulation.
Well, the picture that always floats around like Reddit, and it's like older generations always see younger generations on their phones nowadays, like not actually talking to each other, and then it's like a picture of that right next to a picture of people on a New York subway all just reading the newspaper, and it's like, oh, that's actually pretty much the exact same thing. Like, you're still existing outside of, I don't know, your
outside of the
reality.
moment. Yeah.
So
that's a really good point. I mean, that kind of shuts everything down. Like, we're done.
We're done. Over. Pick up your newspaper. I don't know.
But they're all reading the same newspaper.
True.
Same stories, the same. So there's a collective there.
That's
There's
true.
a common experience. So wrong, Josh. I disagree.
That's a fair point, but you're also sharing a common experience if you're texting it the whole time. It's just not with a person directly in front of you.
No, but like the people on the subway aren't having that same texting conversation.
Well, they might not be reading the business section. They might be reading.
But a couple million people are reading the same post on Reddit each day when it's at the top, right?
Yeah. No, I get
As
that.
I check Reddit.
Yeah. Well, what's on Reddit?
You gotta post it up. I gotta make sure I don't have any responses. So.
Remember when he buys his own planet?
Yeah.
That was cool.
Wait, what's it? That's not Falco, is it? Falco is his mansion, isn't it?
Who has a mansion?
Is this a spaceport?
Where's this spaceship?
What's
He
a
named
spaceport?
something Falco. I
I
don't know.
don't remember where he lives. You're right though. Like he's got a big, nice thing where he stores all the ships and
Yeah.
does cool stuff. I don't know where.
'Cause he was tending to his video feed from there, and I was thinking, man, that's cool. I want a planet.
Yeah,
And you can make your own rules on your own planet.
Mhm.
Nobody can come in there.
exactly.
So
Unless it's Ogden Morrow.
I would just program like 1 billion dragons and be like, "Come at me, bros! PvP!" Like, I am the Dragon Master now. Evidently, that's what game Nick wants.
Yeah.
Christmas 2015.
So after I read this book, I wanted to watch The Highlander. After you guys read this book, what did you guys want to explore?
I actually, right after I read this book, went through Highlander, like everything,
Are you
including the
serious?
series. Yeah, I love Highlander. Like, I would be the one.
So where'd you get your movie? Because I tried to stream my movie and no one sells it.
Oh, I've had Highlander forever.
Oh,
Like,
you-
Highlander was like my thing as growing up as a kid. Like, I don't know. If a movie has like a sword in it, like, it's like my thing.
Was there anything in this book that you had never been introduced to and you
Oh,
were like,
so many.
Yeah.
So much stuff. I mean, because I grew up in like, 90s and 2000s playing games and thinking that was like the height of games and the birth of everything. And then, I didn't really realize that there was something further back than like, my N64 until I was maybe like 16 years old, really. So yeah, I mean, almost everything I had to look up and I did. Wikipedia was kind of my bitch for a little bit there while we were,
We don't use the word bitch.
Backtrack.
which-
Wikipedia was like my donkey pulling me through literary understanding.
That brings up a question though. The word sumbitch came up, and I didn't know what sumbitch meant. It was early in the book, and I meant to Google it, but I didn't.
It's a
think
Nick
it's just a
version of
slurred-
son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Oh!
It's just the slurred son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
Okay, thank you. I was like, son of a bitch. What's a son of a bitch?
Just any one of them. Some. A few would be fine.
Thank you for clarifying that for me. Because one of Wade's neighbors was talking about the stacks and uses that word, and I got lost. But now everything's crystal clear. Thank you both.
I watched Hackers again after I reread this book. I just watched a bunch of weird 80s hacking movies.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys have the Highlander connection, so I'm just like, oh, well.
Whatever, man. Go, get with the clouds. That's all I'm gonna say.
So this is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. It's going to be a movie, I don't know, in a year or two.
A year or two, yeah.
And it's really good. You should read it, but make sure you do it when you have some free time because you really can't put it down.
Exactly.
Approximately, 12 hours? 14?
Yep, because I read it in 26, but I took breaks. I went shopping and stuff. So yeah. I would
Just
say
read
so.
it in one go and then...
Don't read it in one go. Your brain will explode.
No.
Write down any reference you don't understand and come back later.
Look it up.
Thanks for joining us. Somebody hand me that book. Somebody hand me that book. So our June book is House of Leaves by Mark Danielewski.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I think so.
Sounds like a solid Polish author.
Just started reading maybe that much. It's kind of scary. I don't know if it keeps getting scary, but it's kind of scary right now. We've never read a horror, have we, Josh?
H.P. Lovecraft. At the Mountains of Madness.
That wasn't so...
What do you mean?
Scary, though.
We read that book right after they discovered mountains in Antarctica.
Wow. Just fit with the times.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I guess this book has kind of a cult following.
Really?
Yeah. So.
I've never actually heard of it.
Well, now you can't say it anymore, can you?
I can't.
So this is our next book. Read Ready Player One if you haven't already. Then read House of Leaves. And do we know what's coming up after that?
I don't think so.
Okay, so stay tuned. We'll see you next time.